Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Do you have your stuff together? You better. Lots going on. Lots of moving pieces. We're going to talk about that this morning. No, we're not getting ready to have a play. That's an old, I think it's a big curtain. It has like loops all across the top of it, stick on a rod, and we hang that up to keep the sun from beating on our house in the afternoon. We will have something better and more permanent später. All right, where do I want to start? Boris Johnson is going to be Britain's new prime minister. He is a staunch supporter of Brexit. He has intimated that he will leave the EU without a deal, if that's what it takes, so the EU better get ready. They have, I guess, until Halloween to do so. I really hope he does it. I remain skeptical that the new world order will let him do so. I don't think they want to break up the EU, and I think this will be a step in the direction of breaking up the EU. But what do I know? Maybe not. I'm not a European analyst. You know, maybe Britain can leave and the EU will actually get stronger. But yeah, they want to leave. Their ship, the Stena something, seized by the Iranian commandos, talked about that earlier. It remains in the custody of Iran. And Pompeo, our Secretary of State, former director of CIA, said, hey, it's a British ship. It's a British problem, basically. That's what he said. But we'll help them if they need it. But it's basically, we're not going to war over a captured British ship with no British nationals on it. We're not ready yet. The American way of war is mass. I've told you this before. We have a huge force that we go with when we hit. We don't pinprick and then build up a force. And so right now, there's an airfield in Saudi Arabia that we have used on all our previous forays into that part of the world, and we are dusting it off and setting it back up again. And people be starting to flow in there. So yeah, there is a war coming with Iran, and I see comments every now and then, here we are fighting somebody else's war, here we are fighting blood for oil, I hope we don't do it. Hope is not a method. We are going to fight Iran. Oh, look at us, they're going to let Britain drag us into a war. No, we've already decided we're going to war with Iran. The reason we're not helping Britain right now is because it's not on our timetable. When we go, we're going to go big, yo. So there's that. War is coming with Iran. We kind of said that's a British problem. I think we want more help in the region. And oh, do we need more help in the region. Before I segue off of that, you're seeing the same things for this coming war with Iran that we saw with the first war with Iraq, the second war with Afghanistan, the third war with Iraq, the same doom and gloom predictions. You know, Muslim hit teams running around the U.S., you know, sleeper cells, man, they're coming. They're not. I'm not saying there won't be any attacks, but it won't be anything significant at all. They're just not there. They're not that good. If they were, they'd have already used them. No, so that ain't going to happen. You're also seeing how we're going to take a bazillion casualties. I remember the specific number for the first Gulf War. It was 50,000 U.S. casualties for the first war in Iraq, with Iraq. David Hackworth was a friend of my mom's, and he was on a lot of the talk shows then promulgating that number, 50K U.S. casualties. And yeah, nothing even close. The 100-hour war. Remember that one? Who can stand against the beast? So that's kicking up. Iran said they captured some spies of ours. They may have. We're saying they didn't. They may have. And you got to understand the difference between spies and agents or officers. Spies are typically local nationals, Iranians, who are recruited by officers of the CIA. And then the spies, the local nationals, go get the information and they bring it back and give it to their handlers, right? The officers, the agents, if you will. And so, yeah, they probably did capture a bunch of Iranians. And if nothing else, they're probably cleaning house with dissidents that they don't like, and they're just accusing them of being spies, and they're going to shoot them to, look at America invading us, trying to spy on our country, kind of try to rally the people. Some interesting video is out. Some of it is just bogus. I tell you, you can't call the Iranians are not Arabs. They're Persians, right? So you can't say these Arabs. They are Muslims, although they're Shia and most of the other ones are Sunni. But that whole group of people over there, and you can't say Semitic people because the Israelis don't do this. They're just clueless when it comes to using the news, putting out news. I mean, when you constantly put out obviously fake news. Here's a picture of the spies. And they're showing family photos that they probably lifted from Facebook or Twitter. I mean, come on, guys. At least get some, you could use your Photoshop and make it look like, here's my picture, take it off my video, and get me when I'm frowning like that, and then put a fake backdrop, back there or something. Come on. They're just not that good. However, there was one very interesting clip that you can find if you search for it, of a blonde American purportedly attempting to recruit an Iranian whilst they were both in was it the Emirates? Bahrain? Some third country. And unbeknownst to her, the dude was filming her, like right there on the table camera. Yeah, she probably was, operative word was, a case officer. Her face is way too seen, and I was looking at her. I don't think she had a disguise. Her nose was a little bit up, but she didn't have heavy disguise on. You can't make an old person look younger. You can make a young person look older, and she looked pretty young and pretty. She's not going to be able to work again. It's going to be hard for her to work again. Let's just put it that way. But what do I know? Maybe the agency will give her rhinoplasty, dye her hair, frizz it out. She'll be a totally different person. Continue to work. But I think she was busted. Meaning they caught her in the act, but nothing happened to her because third country, having a conversation in a... All right, let's keep going because, again, I'm worried about this camera. So that's going on in Iran. Buildup continues. There is a war coming in Iran. Doesn't matter, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's coming. Are you ready? Big thing happened. There is a working group that has stood up. People are not getting a lot of sleep in the Pentagon for the next couple days at a minimum. And that is this. Russia and China violated... Russia violated Korean airspace. Russia and China worked together, which is rare in that area, with their air forces, and flew provocatively through the Korean Air Defense Identification Zone. Now here's the deal. Every country, the land, has a border that sticks out into the ocean a little ways. It's not very far. And that's their sovereign territory. You're not allowed to fly over that part without their permission. I wish I had that same thing over Shofar Mountain. I'd like to say, here's my boundaries. Here, I'm going to kick them out a little bit. You're not allowed to fly over but you can't. And then they have outside of that boundary, if you will, that's sovereign territory, all that. They have outside of that what they call the Air Defense Identification Zone. And that's just like their area of interest. And it's like they monitor everything going out there because they don't want to know bad guys are coming when they're at the mailbox. They want to know when they're out there. And so those are typically in international waters, and people are allowed to fly there, but it's considered provocative to fly through somebody's ADIZ, all right? And so the Russians and the Chinese bombers were flying for a while through the ADIZ together, which is rare. And it's making people go, what's going on here? What's going on here? Like analysts. And then a Russian airplane, I think it was one of their like AWACS type airplanes. I didn't get that far into my research. I wanted to get this out. Violated the integrity of South Korea's. They launched jets. I'm sure that thing was recording all the comms and all the things lighting up everywhere. That's why they did it. And they ended up having to fire at it twice. Not at it. Warning shots. To say, hey, get out of here. We're serious. And then it flew away with all the data it gathered. That's making people go, it'll probably embolden North Korea. Look, his big brother and cousin are saying, don't pick on my guy. The strange thing about it, the interesting thing about it, is that the Chinese and Russians were clearly working together on this. It's making people go, what's going on? I tell you what I think's going on. I think they realize that the Americans cannot fight two major conflicts at the same time, and we got a big one coming in Iran. And so I think they're just saying, hey, let's see what's going on. So that's going on there. Maybe more to come. I'm kind of looking for China to start getting squirrely around Taiwan and Russia to start getting squirrely on our ADIZ. Right? So it's like, hey, you can't send everything to Iran. You better keep some things back to protect your homeland. And oh, by the way, look what we're doing over here in Taiwan, South China Sea, those kinds of things. Last little bit for this morning. Erdogan, the president of Turkey, a lot of rumors swirling around that he died 2 days ago of a heart attack. In the past, rumors have swirled like that, and the Turks were quick to say, no, those aren't true. Now they're not saying anything. They're not confirming or denying. A lot of people thought Erdogan was the next Antichrist. I didn't. But he was doing squirrely things, man. He's buying Russian S-400s, which then comes with a lot of strings attached to it. We told him, don't do it. He said, I'm doing it anyway. We pulled the F-35s from Turkey. Previously, we'd pulled F-16s that we had agreed to give to Turkey, back in the 90s. Turkey has been supporting Libya. They signed some deal with like Tripoli saying we'll be your military. They were getting really squirrely in that part of the world. I tell you, I just started a book that I'm really fascinated to read because I know things, called Surprise, Kill, Vanish. Surprise, Kill, Vanish. It's basically about our assassination programs throughout the years. It would totally not surprise me if we just decided Erdogan is, he's got to go. Heart attack time, or heart attack time, whatever. It could also be he's an old man under a lot of stress and he had a heart attack. How convenient. I think the odds are good that he is dead by what's going on. Supposedly the successor, the vice president, vice premier, whatever he is not as sophisticated as Erdogan. That could be good. That could be bad. Staunch member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Probably bad. So that's going on. Lots of Africans coming across our border. Border Patrol said they caught 1,000 of them. Ebola is raging. What happens when there's some, purposely infected Ebola-ite that snuck into the country? Maybe 8 of them, and they immediately go to New York, Chicago, LA, Kansas City. I don't know. South America's not quiet. South America, Venezuela's electricity went out, and they suspect that somebody did it. I suspect that we probably did it. There's a lot of that going on. Have you noticed that? A lot of electricity crashing. New York City, again, power out. Yeah, people are flexing muscles. People are saying, look what we can do, or let's test what we can do. Let's have a small operational test of our capabilities. Stuff's happening. It could spin up quickly. I just filled up 8 5-gallon gas cans the other day. Yeah, I had 8 of them sitting around empty. A little bit slack on my part. But they are now full and stored in a safe place. What are you doing? We got food coming in for the Shofarians. We're getting a bunch of wheat delivered here directly. We're doing training. We're doing events. Yeah. Get your ducks in a row. It's a big, scary world in which we live. Stay tuned. All right. I'll see you out there.